Very powerful.
My impression was much like you all just reflected here. Um, Perhaps I'll say that I'm a producer too, and so I do productions and videos and things like that. So I looked at it also from the artistic point of view,
Hmm.
which is perhaps different from others in that respect. But my immediate reaction was that the movie raised more questions than answered them. And so perhaps that was the purpose, to create an atmosphere where why would anyone treat someone so kind, so gentle as Jesus, the way that he was treated? I believe the same way that you mentioned there. I don't think that the essence of what Christ came to the world, to be the Savior of the world, to save us from our sin, was revealed there. And so that is why here on SafeTV we have partnered with a wonderful group and called the Review and Herald and Homeward Publishing, and put out a booklet. It's right here. In fact, you can just put a little bit of that on the screen. It's called Passion of the Ages, because we felt that it was necessary to answer the deeper question that this movie raised. And that is, who was the man? Was he just a man? Now, at the end of the movie, Mel did something that was very, very daring, and I applaud him for that. He actually showed Jesus risen from the dead. Now, up to that point, he was showing Jesus as a benefactor, as a person that did wonderful miracles, but that could have been challenged. But at the end, he actually showed Jesus risen. And that, I think, was where he demonstrated, I believe Mel did, his courage, really. And so I applaud him for that.
Well, the whole thing, I think, was courageous, and
Yes.
and he just, I mean, he knew that the Hollywood elite and the media would take him on as they have. Do you think, Josh, that'll stop now that the movie's out and it's a huge commercial success?
It will be muted a little bit because Hollywood can't help but look at the bottom line. They can't help but look at the dollar figures.
What did you learn about that, bottom line?
Well, the movie's been making incredible amounts of money. The movie has surpassed Lord of the Rings already for the biggest 5-day opening in the history of Hollywood movies. And it's on its way to probably somewhere between 300 million, 350 million in the United States and Canada alone, which is staggering. And the analysts and the pundits were all saying, Mel Gibson might break even on this movie. He spent 30 million or so of his own money and then some more to promote the movies. Well, he might get his money back. Well, he's already got his money back. It's not about money. It's about a vision that he had. And I want to comment on something that Lonnie brought up and just get your reaction, because I have to be honest, I have not seen the film. I have gone to the theater twice, 2 different theaters, with the intention of seeing it, and it's been sold out. So I'm still waiting. But I have the impression that all the opposition from Hollywood may have been a real blessing in disguise for this movie for 2 reasons. One, if Hollywood, if a big studio had agreed to bankroll the film, they would have wanted more editorial control, and Mel Gibson might not have had the freedom to tell the story that he wanted to tell. And number 2, because there was so much hype about the movie, much of it negative, people said, I need to know for myself what to think about this movie, and they've gone to see it. And so it looks to me like God has perhaps taken something that looked like an obstacle to Mel Gibson at the beginning of the process and turned it into a huge blessing.
It's very interesting that you would say that, because Paul is very clear in his words to the Corinthians and Romans in particular, that if he has to be a Jew to the Jews, he'll do that. To the Romans, to the barbarian, I'll be a barbarian. Whatever it takes, by all means, somehow I'm going to try to save people. And what you touched on here is so profound, that Mel Gibson stepped out of the box to take that risk, so that I have a friend in Washington, D.C. He grew up a Jew. He is Jewish, but he has become a Christian. But he said, never in the history of the Jewish people, to his knowledge, and he grew up learning Hebrew and so forth, never, there's these charges of it being anti-Semitic. I didn't pick that up. I really didn't. If anything, I got the message that I put him to death. And Mel Gibson's, by the way, his only cameo in the movie is he's holding that spike, and it's his hand that drove. I killed him. But Mark Kellner, my friend, said, there has never been anything that has created a forum whereby, and I'm from Los Angeles, there's a lot of Jewish people are going to the synagogues to talk about Jesus. This has never happened in Judaism, but they are going now and talking in the synagogues about Jesus. Well, what an incredible way, as you said earlier, Senator, if this is a tool that God can use this to bring the light of the person of Jesus into arenas that you and I in 100 years, Billy Graham, myself, and all the major media preachers could probably never have had that kind of an impact, to let the gospel creep into the...
And this isn't Louis B. Mayer, the greatest story ever told. You
No.
know, it's not. There's a little glimpse of the Sermon on the Mount, but this isn't the life of Jesus. And then, but I think the questions that it raises, I would hope, lead to that further inquiry. You know, who was
Precisely.
Jesus? What did he say about himself? And you know, I think you know, the portrayal of Satan is an evil is pretty clear in the movie. And you know, no man can die for everyone's sins. You know, no one should do that. And so, I mean, even though it's a negative voice, you understand what he sees as his mission from his Father. And so I think the message is clear. But again, I see why Christians click with it. You know, why did I think if anything, it may be anti-Roman soldier. They're the real barbarians in this movie. Why did they break the legs of the two other men on the adjoining crosses, but not of Jesus?
Yeah.
What was that about?
Yeah.
And Mel puts it in there, but he doesn't tell you
Doesn't
why
explain.
that is.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think it's very touching that Mel himself has been so affected by the gospel. The fact that he used to drink and his lifestyle was certainly questionable, and he talks about that. But then he put out this film because he himself has had such a change in his life and heart.
Yeah, yeah.
And there was good marketing. I mean, to preview it with NRB, Jim Dobson, Focus on the Family, they had a preview showing. I think
In Rome, even.
I think he interviewed Mr. Gibson and then put out a letter and commending the movie and so forth. So they you know, knew that this assault and the critics would be there, and
While
they
we were
handled it
there,
pretty well.
several books were put out and handed out while we were
Yes.
there in the preview. Here's
Yeah.
Swindoll's Behold the Man, here's The Passion of Christ, John Piper, all tying into this. But I'm particularly pleased to see that this has come out, and that's one of my favorite books, and it's just in many
What do you know about this
translations.
book? Because this is taken from a book called The Desire of Ages. It's the last 14 chapters.
It takes the picture of the Passion, just as Mel did, and walks it through there hour by hour and gives the details. I was reading Swindoll's book as I landed on the plane tonight, and it is profound, but this is even more detailed. This is sort of a brief summary.
Yeah.
To me, it's one of the finest, and I would highly recommend this book that you
And they can
mentioned.
email, write the station,
Yes.
call the station here, and secure
In fact,
a copy.
let's put that again on the air, that slate that shows. There you are, the website that you can right now get in, or that toll-free line, and you will receive a copy of this wonderful book, The Passion of the Ages. We have about 30 seconds to go to the first half. I know that we had Ted waiting from New Hampshire, plus many others that are on hold. I will take your calls as soon as we come back from the break in the next 20 seconds, but please be patient. We'd love to hear your comments, what you have to say about the power of media in changing the world, particularly your comments if you have seen the movie, or your reaction from what you hear or read about the Passion of Jesus Christ. We'll be right back with America Talks. Please call right now.